All right, it's going.
You ready?
Rolling.
So what are you doing here?
Currently they have me on some armed robberies and other charges, out of another city. I don't know. I don't feel I'm rightfully the right one here, but I'm here.
Why do you feel that way?
If you look into all of my past and all of my history, you know, this isn't what I am. This isn't who I am. You know, there was a lot of different circumstances and a lot of, you know, people kind of putting me into situations that they shouldn't have. And these are people that I was supposed to trust. You know what I mean? People that are my blood. And basically, you know, had I not come back and dealt with these people, knowing, you know what I mean, what they are, knowing what he's done, and these same people are the people that turn me in, you know what I mean, and go and get the CIs and, you know, do the CI stuff to get the rewards and whatnot, while, you know, he's really part of all of it, you know what I mean, like, I wouldn't be in this position, you know what I mean, so now I'm looking at, you know, 15 to 30 years over something that really I shouldn't be facing that kind of time, you know.
So are you saying that wasn't you going into all those different locations and pulling a gun out on the guys?
Not all of them. I know that there's some that are popping up that weren't actually me. You know what I mean? That they're trying to hit me for some that weren't me. You know what I mean, and they're showing 3 on one day that, you know, I know for a fact that one of them wasn't me. You know what I mean? And then another day I know for a fact one of them wasn't me. But I did go and do certain things that I do highly regret. I was under the influence, big time, and I felt very coerced into doing these things, you know.
What do you mean by you were under the influence?
I was highly, highly intoxicated, very, very drunk. You know, I don't have any experience doing most of those things. Look at my criminal history, like, that's just not me, you know what I mean? I'm not a violent person, that's not who I am. But during that time, you know, I was on a lot of drugs, you know, a lot of opiates. It's an epidemic out there right now. And trusting people, you know, that, like I said, trusting people that I shouldn't trust. And they made decisions basically for me, you know what I mean, knowing I'm under that influence and knowing, hey, he's going to do whatever at this point, you know.
So why would you go into a store and point a gun at somebody and rob the place?
Honestly, money is a big factor in that, but also trying to come out of a certain situation, trying to come out from where I was. At the time, I thought of it as a means to an end. You know, I had my first son on March 30th, and I just thought I would be able to, you know what I mean, be done with everything, stop doing all kinds of dirt, and just go be a dad, be the dad that I never had, you know what I mean? And I want to show my son something different. Then all of this comes back on me. You know, I'd only been back in town for 3 days, you know, and all of this comes back on me, and now I'm not going to get to be there for any of my son's stuff, you know. I'm very remorseful for what I did. I'm very regretful, and I feel horrible for anybody that I scared or may felt threatened or any of that, because I wasn't going to hurt nobody.
So you're accused of hitting at least four or five locations.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying that you weren't involved in all those?
No. Out of the 4 or 5 that are there, 2 of those for sure aren't me. For sure.
Which ones are those?
One of them took place on the 27th. One of them took place on the 16th. And they're not me. There's somebody else on the websites right now that even my mother, you know what I'm saying, will tell you, like, I could see how they can make the mistake of saying it was you, because you guys have certain resemblances, especially in your build. But she knows, you know, she knows her own son, she knows what's going on, you know, and she's like, I could tell which one's you and which one's not you.
So you're saying, like, the security footage that, like, the news has, that's not you?
I don't know which ones you guys have exactly, you know, so.
Why did you want to talk to us?
You guys wanted to talk to me.
Well,
Why did you agree?
Why did you agree?
Because I want people to actually know that this isn't who I am, and I am remorseful. You know what I mean? I would honestly like for things to be looked into a little bit differently, you know, a little bit harder. And I would like for the Phoenix Police Department to honestly look at who they're working with, you know what I mean? And if you're just gonna take tips and let anybody be a CI who's going out there doing more than anybody in here right now, you know what I mean? Like, that's how this works, like, all right then, you know?
Where were you arrested?
Jay Park, Deer Valley.
So was it like an apartment?
A house.
A house?
Yeah. 35th Avenue.
And you're saying that like a family member turned you in?
Yes.
All right. What would you want to say to other people that are thinking about robbing a store?
Don't do it, because they're definitely going to get you. You know what I mean? Don't do that, and it's not worth the stress, everything you cause in everybody else's life, but then the hurt and the pain and everything you got to deal with every morning, knowing you're not going to get to see your loved ones. You're not going to get to, you know, put your son to sleep. You're not going to get to see your son go to his first day of school. You're not going to get to see none of that. So I would highly advise not for people to do that.
What were you thinking when you actually walked into one of these businesses and you pulled out the gun?
Honestly, I felt like I was probably more scared than them, you know what I mean? Like, and the only reason I even kept the gun on me was because I didn't want to be caught, you know? So at that point, it was, all right, if I have my gun, you know, the police come, I'm gonna make them use theirs, you know? It was almost like a death wish, you know? And when you're extremely high and extremely intoxicated, you're not really thinking too much, you know what I mean? All you're thinking is, you know, how do I get out of here? How do I get out of this? But then on the other side of it, when you walk out those doors, if you don't walk out with something, you know, the people who are waiting out there for you, it's a whole different ballgame, you know what I mean?
How old are you?
30 years old.
30?
Yes.
Is there anything else you feel like you want to add?
I'm truly sorry, and I do highly regret my decisions, you know?
What do you use the money after the robberies?
Honestly, to try to support my son, try to take care of everything I could on that end. I went out there to make sure I could see him born, and that's all it really was. Like I said, it was 2 weeks before my son was born when all these took place. You know, he was born March 30th. The first one they said was the 16th, you know, and it's ended on the 27th.
But you said you were drunk and high during every single one of these?
Yes, extremely. Extremely. I had to be drunk and high to go out and do anything, just to get the nerve up to do something like that.
You got anything?
I mean, obviously, you're an adult. You said you were highly coerced, but don't you think that as adults that we are ultimately responsible for our own actions and our own decisions?
We are ultimately responsible for our own actions and our own decisions, but when you're an adult and the people that are coercing you are supposed to be someone that's supposed to guide you through life, you know what I mean, supposed to help you make those correct decisions, help you see what's right and what's wrong, and all they train you since you're a child is to do wrong, you know what I mean, and that's all they do in everybody else's lives. It's really hard to say, oh, that's not what I'm supposed to do, you know what I mean, like.
So were you saying you had a difficult time discerning between right and wrong?
I did at the time. You know, it takes sobering up and, you know, laying down, sitting there thinking about it day in and day out to actually see the difference, you know what I'm saying, in the right and the wrong.
When you say you've been coerced, are we talking about this is your mom, this is your dad, this is your brother? Who are we talking about?
Legally speaking, like, I don't want to throw out anybody's name, but yes, it's a family member that is not my mother. You know, it's a family member that is supposed to guide me the correct way. You know.
And this person encouraged you to go out and rob these stores? Is that what you're saying?
This person has been down for nothing but bank robberies, armed robberies, all of that. It goes through one side of my family very, very deep. And that's all they've ever known, and that's all they've ever tried to teach me. They've tried to get me to do this since I was 15. Promised I'd be out by the time I was 18, you know?
All right, well, I think that's good, man.
All right.
So, I mean, you said that, I mean, a lot of this was done because of your son. As you're going through this, I mean, wasn't the thought of your son and not enough to make you stop from going down that road?
The thought of not being able to be there for my son financially or in any way whatsoever, physically, was more overwhelming than the thought of getting caught, because honestly did not think at the time I would be caught because of what I was told to do and how I was told to do it, you know, and that's how they got away with it for a very long time. They didn't get caught on a lot of things, you know. They still get to walk around and do as they please, but I'm the scapegoat and I'm going to take the hit on this, so.